Hey, Justin.
Hey, Steve. Thanks again for joining me. We're talking today about development, and specifically commercial and residential development within the greater downtown area. As you can hear this truck going by, you can tell that downtown Durham has quite a bit of construction going on. It's sprawling across many directions, and a lot of people are interested in what that's going to do to the future landscape of Durham. So I want to give you a little anecdote here to kind of show you where the conversations, what the conversations look like. I had a visit from a couple gentlemen from our friends at Austin Lawrence Partners, the development group here that's doing the City Center and Jack Tar Motel, a couple other projects in downtown.
Yeah.
I may or may not have said some unpleasant things about their development choices on the internet, and so they decided to pay me a visit at the Runaway Store. And the conversation went something like, I should be grateful to them for buying up these empty buildings and turning them into things that I may or may not be able to afford. And it got me thinking about the conversations that are had between developers, between city government, between the citizens. How connected is that? There's a fear from the people of Durham that the construction is out of their control, and that's what stirs up a lot of this animosity towards development. And I don't know how much this comes up in city council meetings from the people, but can you maybe give some insight into why people might be afraid of development, what it is about development that scares people?
Well, in a way, it's sort of a two-way street, isn't it? I mean, think about, you've lived here for pretty much your whole life. But there are a lot of people that are pouring into Durham who are your age, and they want to live somewhere. And they want to live downtown, they want to live close to downtown, they want to live in a walkable, bikeable. I mean, we've talked about, I've talked about that a lot.
And that's the trend. That's not just in Durham. That's nationwide, if not worldwide. The move to have more mobility without having to drive. Exactly.
And so that means they want to live downtown or near it, and that's what's driving these. That's what's driving these apartment buildings. It's also, when you think about it. So think about your company, Runaway.
I do pretty often.
I bet you do. You all depend on the prosperity of Durham as well. I mean, you all have such a Durham identified brand, and so that same generation of people who are living here, who are prospering, who hopefully can afford to buy lots of your product. It all kind of goes together.
Right. So
we definitely need development, and then the question is, I think, a couple different things. How much is too much? The affordability aspect of it that you've already mentioned, and the quality of it. What it looks like, what it feels like from the street level, that kind of thing. And so I think that all those are really important issues. Now, where we're sitting, Durham Central Park, is a great place to kind of think about some of those things. So I think about my friend Dave Wofford, who has a little press right here. Wonderful artist, and runs a small business, successful, beautiful letterpress work. And Dave has, talked to me before about being priced out of downtown. You and I have discussed this before too. Being priced out of the retail spaces downtown. And so that's one of the phenomena that's really scary and worrisome. And we hear about a lot, which is, do we have the retail space that's going to meet the demand? And especially, does it meet the demand for people who can't pay a whole ton of money?
And there's a chicken and egg there. I mean, if you think about some of the spaces that have closed recently, closer to Brightleaf, like Fishmongers and Respite and Triangle Brewery, and more recently the wine shop here on Main Street next to BU Cafe. If they are able to make it through the development period and the influx of new buyers come into town, they may be able to afford the increase in rent. But that time period between what's coming and what's here now can be tough for business owners to get through.
Yeah.
And so, and there may not be a whole lot of leeway from the developer side, or business or the shop owners side.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you think about it. I mean, I think the ones you mentioned are all kind of different in a way. I mean, but I don't know. I don't know the Cave Tarot, the wine business you're talking about. I mean, I don't know a lot about them other than I bought wine there.
Yeah.
It's a great little shop.
Right.
I don't know much about their business, but one can imagine that if there were more people living downtown that would be able to walk there and support their business, they would have been able to make it through this period. So in a way, thinking about Liberty Warehouse, which we're at right now, where they're building, a couple hundred rental units.
Right.
I mean, that is eventually going to help businesses like Cave Tarot. I mean, you have to have that critical mass, I think, for the retail to succeed.
How would one decide what good development and bad development is?
Yeah.
Our shop at Runaway is right next to 21C. It's one of my favorite places to go. I've eaten lunch and dinner there. I've been to the museum a number of times. How does that differ from maybe like 605 West? It's a little bit different of a space, mostly apartments there, or West Village, or the Liberty Warehouse is being built. How do we decide, that's good development because I like it, and that's not because I don't, or it doesn't have the restaurants that I want?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a great question, and I think, again, a couple different things. I mean, 21C, I think, is, this was supported by a city subsidy. Mm-hmm. It basically, and the way that works is, they don't pay their full complement of, it's a long story. Let me make it simple. We refund part of their property tax every year. I can't remember exactly how long theirs is. Maybe it's 10 years.
Okay.
The city is cash positive from day one in terms of the taxpayer, but we do refund part of their taxes, and and that's a way that we support what they've done to repurpose that old, incredibly important landmark building in the middle of Durham. We wanted a great development there, and I think we've got one, and I think that was a good decision on the part of City Council. So when I think about that building, there are a lot of things I love about it. I mean, one is it is a beautiful renovation. Mm-hmm. Two is it is exceptional in the way that you described. They have that art. You said museum. I'm not sure it's a museum, a gallery, but it is amazing, and it's publicly accessible.
24/7.
You can go in there and you can take people in there. I've taken so many friends in there to look at that art, and it's a gift to the city.
Right.
That's exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very supportive of what we've done there, and I think it's been a really good thing, from a public standpoint.
So the reimbursement is that. Can you recognize that when the development is going in, and you can say to them, because we feel like there is some public good in what you're doing, we are happy to.
Well, it doesn't really work like that.
Okay.
They come to us and they say, we have a financing gap. You want us to do this sort of level of historic preservation, it's going to cost us X dollars extra. If you want us to do that, here's what it'll cost. Our Office of Economic and Workforce Development will look at it. They'll analyze the numbers. They'll sort of make an analysis, and they'll look at what the tax revenue is expected, and they'll say, we think the tax revenue is going to be X, and for the next 10 years, we will give you, some portion of that back. They've asked for a portion, and we tell them what we think we'll go for. They look at it, and then it's brought to the city council, and we vote on it. Okay. So another good example is the other side. So this wall of Liberty Warehouse that you're looking at, this is Durham Central Park. That wall is preserved. It's an old wall. And then you remember the other side of the building, there's another wall.
With the drive-in.
Exactly. So our historic preservation community felt it was really important to preserve those. And so In order to do that, Liberty Warehouse, the developer, also asked us, because that's expensive, if the city would help subsidize that to some extent. We did. It's not very much, but we did. Much smaller amount than we gave for the preservation of the 21C. But there are also other issues that arise. I'll give you an example. You're looking here at this pavilion, which is Liberty Arts.
Right.
And if you've ever been to Liberty Arts, it's amazing. I don't know if you've ever seen a pour there, but they do all this incredible metalwork there. And that's a public facility. It's on a public park. It's owned by the city. It was a gift from some people that supported this Durham Central Park. And so one of those things the city said was, if you want to develop that, that's okay. But we have this facility here, and this facility not only is it's a wonderful asset, but it can be smoky, and you're going to have to deal with that. But we want to preserve that because it is a great public asset, and a lot of people use it, and local nonprofit runs it. So there are lots of negotiations like that. An interesting thing about this one is that wall, half that wall was owned by the developer of Liberty Warehouse. The other half of that same wall was a public wall owned by the city. Now, how long it's been that way, I don't know. But there was all sort of a lot of negotiation that went around, how to preserve that wall and how that was going to happen, how to protect the park. And so a lot of negotiation goes on in a situation like this.
And it sounds like it's happening pretty early on.
For something like that.
Well, I'd love, since we've been talking about 21C Hotel, to maybe take a stroll and head up in that direction.
Sounds
and
good.
Continue our conversation about development.
Couldn't we have done this on a cooler day?
We could have tried, yeah, but the pressure's good. It makes you really have to think about what you're saying.
Think about the future of downtown. One of the aspects I think is important is what actually happens during construction, because we have so much construction now, and we're going to have more.